Today our topic is procurement strategy. Under the strategy we will understand what is procurement strategy, 6 key strategy elements, why we need strategy, advantages and challenges. Procurement strategy. A procurement strategy is a process that aligns with organization's overall corporate strategy. Procurement strategy supports the overall business objectives and direction, ensuring that any activity that is undertaken within the operational activities in the procurement departments work towards the overall corporate strategy. Today's market demands flexibility and innovation. A procurement strategy will help us to stay ahead. Organizations must be quicker, leaner, and proactive to keep ahead of things to avoid being left behind by competitors and customers. Now we will understand the 6 key elements that make up a procurement strategy, which are vision, performance metrics, procurement capabilities, stakeholder engagement, business context and plan of action. Now we will understand in brief. Number 1. Vision. We need to set goals, understand the approach, and identify the scope of remit. Number 2. Performance metrics. Under this we need to measure the performance. You can't manage what you don't measure. Number 3. Procurement capabilities. Identify existing capabilities within the function and changes required. Number 4. Stakeholder engagement. It keeps stakeholders informed and explain the procurement strategy to support buy-in. Number 5. Business context. It create value for customers and improve how procurement is viewed as a function. And number 6. Plan of action. It is the method to break the strategy down into logical steps of deliverables. Number 1. Vision. The vision for an organization is normally a clear, aspirational statement of that which it would like to achieve over the long term. It serves as the North Star for current and future decisions. Here are 3 suggested areas that should be covered when developing the vision for a procurement function. Goals. As early as possible, clarify and agree what success looks like. It helps define the capabilities to be developed. Normally the desired outcomes include, as a minimum, reducing cost, complexity and risk within the supply chain. Approach. Generally, procurements adds value by leveraging spend from across the organization and then applying procurement best practices to create value. There are many ways to achieve this, but generally they fall into one of 3 models. 1. Centralized. 2. Center-led. 3. Federated. The preferred option depends on the organization's broader approach. Scope of remit. Procurement is responsible for third-party spend. However, the extent of the remit needs to be clearer. For example, is it direct and indirect spend? Will it cover sourcing and P2P? Is supplier management in scope? Understanding these factors is crucial to planning the strategy and stakeholder engagement plans. The key elements from each of these areas must be synthesized into a single, clear, and succinct statement of intent. Number 2, performance metrics. As per the Peter Drucker, what gets measured, gets managed. It is certainly true for the delivery of a procurement strategy. And there are many performance metrics available to choose from. However, the key is to differentiate between metrics that measure operational efficiency, and those that measure the strategic outcomes you are trying to achieve. The most widely accepted framework for developing metrics is the use of a balanced scorecard which assesses performance in 4 key areas. Commercial. A procurement team is an overhead for a business. However, an efficient and effective one should be able to demonstrate a material return on investment. This is normally calculated as cost reduction / cost of the function. Risk. It is impossible to eliminate all risk from any business. However, procurement should ensure the supply chain doesn't breach the firm's risk appetite, a threshold set by the organization's risk department. Supplier management. Suppliers are an extension of the business's value chains. However, if the supply chain is too complex, it's impossible for these suppliers and the products and services they supply to be managed properly. Aim is to reduce the number of suppliers. Spend control. Procurement's ability to add value depends on spend being covered by an agreed category strategy, managed via an approved buying channel, that is procurement card, or catalog. Without these controls, spend will leak to non-preferred suppliers on poor terms and conditions. Number 3. Procurement capabilities. Having established a clear vision for the function, we need to make sure it is supported by the capabilities to deliver it. This normally includes a combination of one or more of the following. Strategic sourcing. The methodology for creating a sourcing strategy hasn't changed since A.T. Kearney first created it. However, the tools and delivery models have, with ERFX and e-auctions, advanced data analytics and external research forms like Gartner being commonplace. As are delivery models such as captive service centers, outsourcing, or collaborative procurement hubs. Procure to pay. The P2P process manages the day-to-day process for the approval, ordering, receipt and payments for goods and services. Significant changes in the technology landscape means a move away from ERP systems to point P2P solutions and suppliers networks. In addition, the scope of P2P operations now often includes managing account payable, corporate cards, travel and expense management operations. Supplier management includes pre-contract due diligence on the supplier's operational capabilities, day-to-day management of performance and billing, and managing supplier risk events as and when they occur. It should also cover development activity, i.e. product innovation or outsourcing of additional services to the supplier. SRM roles are often performed by the business who are advised by procurement. Supply chain governance. As global socio-economic conditions become more complex, third-party risks have to be managed. These risks include service delivery risk, continuity of business, data privacy, and IT security, as well as the emerging theme of environmental, social and governance, ESG, risk. Procurement, as SME, can help support the organization's risk teams oversee these risks and key outsourcing decisions. Number 4. Stakeholder engagement. When you are running a change program, it can sometimes feel like an invisible hand is conspiring to steer you onto the rocks. When this happens, it's likely you've missed a cultural/stakeholder engagement issue. Discussing the procurement strategy in the right way with the wider organization and its key stakeholders can protect against this phenomenon. It requires an understanding of who these stakeholders are and what they are concerned about. Executive team. Developing and delivering a successful strategy requires collective agreement and support. Most organizations struggle with competing pressures for scarce resource, and implementing a new strategy requires change, which can require compromise. The executive team needs to be behind it if it's going to succeed when things get tough. Functional heads and SMEs. Key stakeholders may have to give up some level of control or even provide support to a central procurement function, for example use a group supplier or a local one, agree to product specification changes to standardize goods or services being bought, or even outsource a team or function within their remit. These compromises need to be discussed and understood at the outset. Whole organization. A procurement function owns only a small part of the firm's total budget and cannot manage all day-to-day dealings between the business and suppliers. Therefore, the whole organization needs to have an awareness of procurement best practices and their role in deploying them. External stakeholders. The changes in procurement will mainly impact internal stakeholders. However, understanding the legal and regulatory regime the firm works within, and talking to existing suppliers can provide meaningful insights on potential gaps in the existing framework. Further discussions with peer group companies and trade bodies can help identify best practices. Number 5. Business context. One of the biggest factors in building or transforming a procurement function is changing how it is viewed by the broader organization. Improving perception requires moving the function away from a pure price play to supporting the business in creating value for its customers. Here are 4 things to consider. Industry insights. The current environment in which your organization operates impacts the priorities for the function, for example, whether to support growth, reduce cost or risk, or drive product innovation. Understanding these factors and their relative importance is crucial in planning how you do things. Functional heads and SMEs. The procurement strategy must be aligned to how the company derives value and tempered by an understanding of where it fits in the hierarchy of business priorities. For example, every organization deals with competing pressures for resource, whether it's investment in new systems, headcount for new initiatives, or airtime in the organization's agenda. Organization structure. There are many different ways to organize and run a business. Procurement needs to fit into the broader operating model of the firm. Factors to consider include whether it's global or regional, led by product, brand, or distribution channel, and the degree of outsourcing that is the norm. External stakeholders. Understanding how the organization makes decisions affects how you implement the strategy. Some organizations will allow a chief procurement officer a high degree of autonomy around organization design, systems implementation, etc. Others will want a more active engagement with HR and tech functions. Number 6. Plan of action. To turn the vision and capabilities into reality, a plan of action is required. The plan should take a long-term view and break the strategy down into a sequence of logical steps to deliver each capability. This would normally include the technology, process, people, and data changes required for success. It should also recognize any limitations imposed by the business, its culture, and appetite to invest, and be flexible enough to adapt to changing market conditions. Overall timeline. A procurement strategy will typically take 2 to 5 years. The lower limit ensures changes in procurement are included in at least one full cycle of the strategic and financial planning process. The upper limit is more open-ended. However, generally speaking, the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world we currently operate in means requirements greater than 5 years out are hard to predict. Developing work streams. All corporate services capabilities tend to follow a similar evolutionary path. Hackett's Global Business Services Maturity Model describes this as well as any other. It shows the journey from decentralized transaction processing capability to value-add strategic partner. It identifies the key building blocks and the sequence in which they are deployed. Creating the plan. Agile is becoming increasingly popular and is especially effective for developing and delivering a new strategy. It allows you to plan changes in each capability in small increments and compensate for external factors along the way. An effective way to document the high-level plan, which supports an agile approach, is to create a one-page Sun diagram for the overall strategy. Why do you need a procurement strategy? There are a number of issues in today's business environments, which are challenging. Having a procurement strategy will help confront and address these challenges. Here's 5 reasons why a procurement strategy is so vital. Number 1. Procurement must be linked to the financial planning of the business. The organization, therefore, needs to develop a way to measure the effects of sourcing and procurement on the business. Number 2. Organizations must think and act on a global scale, not just in terms of extending supply chains. Number 3. The decision to make or buy cannot be made on purely financial terms. A more strategic and wider view must be taken, which considers the overall goals of the organization and long-term development of the organization. Number 4. There must be a balance against what the most crucial core activities of the organization are and ways to reduce cost and improve efficiency. And number 5. Mapping how different service or product functions respond to customer needs is crucial. This process is intended to produce a more focused portfolio of products and services and provide indications of areas to build upon in the future. Procurement strategy advantages. As outlined, a procurement strategy is key in today's challenging environment. Take a look at some advantages of implementing a procurement strategy within your organization. Number 1. A procurement strategy is often seen as key to competitiveness and can have a positive effect on performance. Number 2. A procurement strategy helps to identify risks within your organization. Number 3. Strategic procurement can achieve a reduction in the supplier base and the establishment of long-term relationships with the best suppliers. Number 4. Strategic procurement can increase the risk of heavier dependence upon a smaller number of suppliers. Number 5. There are problems with measuring a complex business relationship that is created through a dependence on suppliers. Conclusion. Effective procurement strategies play a crucial role in the success of any business. By implementing procurement strategies that prioritize cost savings, supplier relationships, regulatory compliance, and ethical sourcing practices, organizations can achieve long-term business success. Thus, businesses must invest in building and implementing effective procurement strategies and prioritize their procurement operations. I've tried to provide a simple and concise framework that you can use to develop your own strategy. However, if it's still too much to digest, here's the one-page summary: the 10 commandments of creating a procurement strategy. Number 1. Keep it so simple. The political/technical/economic business environment is already complex. Make it easy for stakeholders to engage you, and don't use procurement jargon. Number 2. Procurement is important. On average, more than 50% of most firms' expenses are with suppliers. This is increasing with the rise of asset-light business models. Number 3. Procurement is a discretionary function. To gain influence, identify how you can help the business create value, or solve problems for its clients. Number 4. Recognize that suppliers are an extension of the business, therefore the procurement strategy needs to align with the business strategy. Number 5. Stakeholder engagement. Procurement will become more automated, and big data will drive greater insights. However, it doesn't matter if no one is listening to achieve that. You have to get the stakeholders' attention. Number 6. Create a clear vision. Not just to create an identity for the procurement function, but also to help all employees understand the importance of managing suppliers and third-party costs. Number 7. Look after the pennies. Managing the day-to-day transactions is as important as creating innovative strategies. Make sure you know how P2P fits into your strategy. Number 8. Planning. It's good to have a plan, but it's more important to get stuff done. Keep the plan high level, break it down into manageable projects, and focus on delivery. Number 9. Managing performance. Focus on strategic outcomes. When thinking strategy, try not to become fixated on important but secondary operational metrics, e.g. payment performance, cycle times, etc. And number 10. Retain. Recruit skilled people. Talent is the last competitive differentiation. Recruit, develop and retain the best people you can.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and before leaving, if you have not already subscribed this channel, make sure to subscribe, like and hit the bell icon to get updates when I post new videos. Provide your feedback in comments. You can download material from the below links under video.